the Stoics mastered psychology long before modern science caught up. They understood one truth that still applies today: the greatest misery comes from attaching yourself to the wrong people. And when it comes to dating, the wrong woman can destroy your peace, drain your energy, and leave you questioning your own worth. If you want a strong, fulfilling relationship, you need to spot the red flags early before you're too deep to escape. Because a toxic woman won't suddenly change. The warning signs are there from the start, you just have to recognize them. Today, we're breaking down the biggest red flags that will ruin your life if you ignore them. If you see these behaviors, don't make excuses. Don't rationalize them. Walk away. Watch until the end so you don't miss a single one. And if you've ever dealt with a woman like this, drop a comment and share your story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because every man needs to hear this. Now, let's get into it. Chapter 1. She's possessive and needy. At first, it seems sweet. She always wants to be around you. She texts you the moment you wake up, checking in on you throughout the day, wanting to know what you're doing, where you are, and who you're with. She gets upset when you make plans without her, and she always finds a way to turn the conversation back to how much she misses you. It might feel like she just really likes you, that she's more affectionate or devoted than women you've dated before. And at first, it's flattering. But make no mistake, what she's actually doing is testing your boundaries. She's seeing how much control she can exert over you, how much of your time and attention she can claim as her own. A possessive woman doesn't see you as a man with his own life, goals, and independence. She sees you as hers. You're not her partner, you're her property. And the moment you allow this behavior, even just a little, it never stops. It starts with small things: her needing constant reassurance, guilt-tripping you when you spend time with others, subtly making you feel bad for prioritizing anything that isn't her. But over time, it escalates. She'll get angry when you go out without her, acting hurt and making you feel guilty. She'll interrogate you about every female coworker or friend, convinced that every woman in your life is a threat. She'll make subtle comments designed to isolate you, questioning your friend's loyalty or implying that they don't really care about you the way she does. Slowly but surely, she'll demand more and more of your time, your focus, your energy, until one day you look in the mirror and barely recognize the man you used to be. A Stoic man values his freedom. He knows that true strength comes from maintaining control over his own life, his emotions, and his choices. He does not allow himself to be controlled by another person's insecurities, no matter how much they claim to love him. A healthy woman supports his independence, understanding that love should enhance a man's life, not consume it. A toxic woman, however, will try to erase that independence entirely. And here's the worst part: no matter how much attention you give her, it will never be enough. No matter how many calls you answer, no matter how many nights you spend by her side, she will always crave more. The neediness, the jealousy, the possessiveness, it doesn't go away. It only grows stronger, feeding on your concessions like a fire that can never be put out. The cycle is vicious. You start by reassuring her, by spending a little extra time with her, thinking it will calm her down. But the more you give, the more she demands. She becomes suspicious when you don't reply fast enough. She pouts when you want to do something without her. And eventually, you start modifying your own behavior just to keep the peace. You stop going out as much. You avoid certain conversations just to prevent drama. You make yourself smaller, quieter, less independent, until one day you realize that you've been completely consumed by her needs at the expense of your own. A relationship like this will drain the life out of you. It won't make you feel loved, it will make you feel trapped. You'll lose your sense of self. You'll second-guess every decision. you'll find yourself prioritizing her emotions over your own well-being, mistaking control for love. But love isn't about control. A real, mature, emotionally stable woman won't panic every time you step away. She won't need to track your every move or demand every second of your time. A secure woman doesn't fear your independence, she respects it. So before you make excuses for her behavior, before you tell yourself that she's just more affectionate than others, ask yourself this: are you truly free in this relationship? Or are you slowly being erased? A woman like this will never be satisfied. She will consume everything you have to give and still demand more. The only way to escape this cycle is to walk away before you lose yourself entirely. Chapter 2. She talks about her ex too much. A woman who constantly brings up her ex is still emotionally attached to him. It doesn't matter if she's trashing him, blaming him, or claiming he was the worst guy ever, he's still living in her mind rent-free. And if he's there, you're not. At first, you might brush it off. Maybe she mentions him casually in conversation, telling a funny story about something they did together, or making a passing comment about how different you are from him. No big deal, right? But then, it happens again. And again. Suddenly, it's not just a random anecdote, it's a pattern. And that pattern is a warning sign. A woman who is truly over her past doesn't feel the need to constantly discuss it. She's focused on you, on the present, on building something new. But if she keeps bringing him up, if she constantly compares you to him, whether positively or negatively, if she's asking too many questions about your ex, that's a sign of unfinished business. She's not mentally or emotionally free from her past relationship. She's still tangled in the emotions, the memories, the unresolved pain. And if she's still stuck there, she's not fully with you. This kind of woman isn't necessarily trying to hurt you, she might not even realize she's doing it. But whether she's reminiscing about the good times or obsessing over how bad things were, the result is the same: her mind and emotions are still connected to him. And here's the brutal truth: you don't want to be the guy she uses to heal from her last relationship. Think about it. If she's still processing her breakup, if she's still angry, bitter, or nostalgic, what role are you really playing in her life? Are you her partner? Or are you just a distraction, a temporary fix, a rebound? Because rebounds always end the same way. Once she feels whole again, once she has processed her emotions and moved on from her ex, she won't need you anymore. And she'll leave. Not because you did something wrong, but because you were never meant to be permanent. You were just a stepping stone, someone she used to fill the void while she figured herself out. A Stoic man doesn't compete with another man's ghost. He refuses to be someone's emotional bandage. He knows that a woman who is still emotionally tied to her past cannot fully give herself to her future. And if she's not ready to move forward, he won't waste his time trying to drag her there. So how can you tell if a woman is still holding on to her ex? Pay attention to the way she talks about him. Does she bring him up unprompted? Does she bring him up a lot? When she talks about him, does she get emotional, angry, sad, nostalgic? Does she compare you to him, even in small ways? Does she seem obsessed with proving how over him she is? Because here's the thing, someone who is truly over their ex doesn't have to prove it. They just are. Also, watch how she reacts when certain topics come up. If she sees something that reminds her of him, does she change moods? If she hears a song they used to listen to, does she get quiet? If she bumps into him in public, does it shake her? These little moments reveal a lot about what's really going on in her mind. And then, there's the biggest red flag of all, the way she talks about your past relationships. If she's obsessed with knowing about your exes, it's not because she's just curious. It's because she's comparing herself to them. She wants to know if she's better, if she's winning, if she has something to prove. A secure woman doesn't need that. A woman who is truly ready for a new relationship doesn't need to measure herself against someone from your past. So here's what you need to remember. You are not a therapist. You are not a stepping stone. You are not a rebound. If she is still emotionally tied to her ex, that's her problem to solve, not yours. Don't let yourself be dragged into her unfinished business. Because if you do, if you ignore the warning signs, if you let yourself believe that you are the one who will finally make her forget him, you'll only end up hurt. And one day, when she's finally done processing all the emotions she couldn't handle before, she'll leave. And you'll be left wondering what happened. A woman who truly values you will focus on you, not her past. And a man who values himself will walk away from a woman who still has one foot in another relationship. Don't be the guy who waits around, hoping she'll finally let go of her past. Find someone who is ready to build a future with you, not someone who is still stuck in the past. Chapter 3. She has no female friends. If a woman tells you, "I just don't get along with other girls," run. At first, this might sound like an intriguing, even attractive statement. Maybe she presents herself as different, as someone who stands out from the crowd, someone who is more logical, more chill, or just not into the same drama that other women supposedly engage in. But take a step back. Ask yourself, why? Friendships, especially among women, are built on a foundation of trust, emotional intelligence, and mutual respect. If she has repeatedly failed to maintain those bonds, the issue isn't every other woman in the world, it's her. When someone can't hold on to long-term friendships, it's usually because they lack key interpersonal skills like compromise, emotional regulation, and loyalty. They might be self-centered, manipulative, or prone to conflict. And if she struggles with these things in friendships, what makes you think she'll suddenly be different in a romantic relationship? Men often overlook this red flag because they think, she's just different. She's not like other girls. But let's be real, when a person consistently burns bridges, the common denominator is them. She's not an exception to some imaginary rule. She's a living example of what happens when someone is too toxic to maintain healthy relationships. And while it's easy to believe that romantic relationships are a whole different game, they're not. The same qualities that make someone a good friend, loyalty, empathy, stability, are the ones that make them a good partner. Look at her history. If she has a pattern of short-lived, volatile, or high-drama friendships, that pattern won't magically disappear when she's with you. You might think, well, I'm different. She'll respect me. She'll treat me better than she treated them. But here's the truth, she won't. People don't change their core behaviors just because they're in a relationship. If she's used to ghosting friends over minor disagreements, she'll eventually ghost you too. If she thrives on gossip, lies, or drama with others, she'll bring that same energy into your life. Some men also fall into the trap of thinking she just relates better to guys. She's more fun, less emotional, easier to be around. But this often masks a deeper issue. If she surrounds herself only with male friends, ask yourself why. Is it really because she finds men more relatable? Or is it because she craves male attention, validation, and competition? A woman who constantly seeks male approval while avoiding female friendships isn't just different. She's playing a dangerous game, one where her need for attention outweighs her ability to form deep, meaningful connections. A woman without female friends isn't a mystery to be solved. She's a warning sign. A woman who cycles through friendships, who thrives on conflict, who can't maintain long-term relationships, these are the same behaviors that will eventually show up in your relationship. No one suddenly becomes a loving, stable partner when they've never demonstrated those qualities elsewhere. So before you ignore this red flag, ask yourself, do you really want to be the next person she burns through? Chapter 4. She's excessively jealous. A little jealousy is normal. It's human nature. If a woman truly cares about you, she'll feel a twinge of jealousy every now and then. It's a sign that she values the relationship. But excessive jealousy? That's something entirely different. It's not about care. It's about control. And if you ignore this red flag, you'll find yourself trapped in a relationship where your every move is questioned, your every action is scrutinized, and your freedom slowly disappears. At first, it seems harmless. Maybe she casually asks, "Who are you texting?" Maybe she rolls her eyes when a waitress smiles at you. Maybe she makes a little joke when you mention an old female friend. It's subtle. It might even feel cute at first, like she just wants to feel special. But jealousy doesn't stay small. It grows. Before long, those innocent questions turn into interrogations. She starts asking where you are all the time. She wants to know who you're with, what you're doing, and why you didn't text her back immediately. If you take longer than usual to reply, she accuses you of hiding something. If you come home late from work, she doesn't believe your excuse. If you so much as mention a female coworker, she loses it, demanding to know every detail about her. And then? It gets worse. She starts going through your phone. At first, she might do it secretly, checking your messages when you're in the shower or looking over your shoulder when you're texting. But eventually, she doesn't even hide it. She demands to see your messages. She wants to know every woman you've ever talked to. And if she finds anything, even an innocent conversation, she blows up. Her mind isn't looking for the truth. It's looking for confirmation of her worst fears. And when someone is searching for betrayal, they'll always find a way to twist reality to fit their narrative. And that's when the control starts. She doesn't just get jealous, she starts making rules. She doesn't want you talking to female friends anymore. She doesn't like you following attractive women on social media. She doesn't even want you looking at other women in public. Suddenly, everything you do feels like it could set her off. You start walking on eggshells, trying to avoid triggering another fight. You feel trapped, like you can't even be yourself anymore. And the worst part? No matter how hard you try to reassure her, it's never enough. You can delete every female contact from your phone. You can stop hanging out with female co-workers. You can give up your social life just to make her feel secure. But nothing will change because her jealousy isn't about what you do. It's about who she is. A woman like this isn't looking for trust, she's looking for control. She doesn't want to feel safe in the relationship, she wants power over it. She wants to make sure you have no emotional connections outside of her. She wants to isolate you, to make sure she's the only woman in your life. And when a woman starts controlling who you talk to, where you go, and what you do, it's not just toxic. It's dangerous. Because today, it's about your phone. Tomorrow, it's about your freedom. A Stoic man doesn't tolerate this. He doesn't sacrifice his peace for someone else's insecurity. He doesn't waste time constantly proving his innocence to someone who has already decided he's guilty. And he sure as hell doesn't let a woman dictate his life just because she's too insecure to handle a normal, healthy relationship. A real man values his peace, his freedom, and his autonomy. He doesn't stay with a woman who tries to control him. He doesn't entertain drama, paranoia, or manipulation. And most importantly, he doesn't justify normal behavior to someone who refuses to trust him. If she's constantly accusing you, if she's obsessed with your past, if she's trying to control who you talk to, it doesn't matter how much you like her. It doesn't matter if the good moments are great. It doesn't even matter if she's the most attractive woman you've ever been with. Because jealousy doesn't get better. It only gets worse. And if you stay, if you keep trying to prove that she can trust you, you will wake up one day and realize that you've lost yourself in the process. The solution is simple: walk away. Chapter 5. She has unrealistic communication expectations. A healthy, secure woman understands that you have a life outside of her. She respects your time, your work, your personal space, and your responsibilities. But a toxic woman? She sees your attention as something she is entitled to, all the time. She doesn't just want you to text her, she expects it. And if you don't, she punishes you. At first, it might seem harmless. She gets a little annoyed when you don't respond right away. She jokes about you ignoring her. She drops little comments like, "Oh, I guess you're too busy for me now." It seems innocent. But then it escalates. She starts questioning why you didn't text good morning or good night. She complains that you don't check in enough throughout the day. If you're at work and don't reply for a few hours, she assumes you're upset with her, or worse, doing something shady. And if you go out with friends, she expects constant updates. A quick "hey, I'm with the guys" isn't enough. She wants to know where you are, who you're with, and when you'll be home. This isn't love. It's insecurity disguised as affection. And no matter how much you text, call, or reassure her, it's never enough. Because the issue isn't how often you communicate. It's her need for control. A woman who expects you to be available 24/7 doesn't just want attention, she wants power over your time. She wants to know that she comes first in every situation, that she has access to you whenever she wants, and that your focus is always on her, no matter what else is happening in your life. And if you don't give her what she wants, she reacts. Maybe she gives you the silent treatment, ignoring your messages to teach you a lesson. Maybe she picks a fight, accusing you of not caring enough. Maybe she becomes passive-aggressive, making snide comments about how you must have been too busy with someone else. Or maybe she just breaks down, crying about how she feels and neglected and making you feel guilty for something that should be completely normal, having a life of your own. This kind of behavior is toxic. It drains you. It forces you into a never-ending cycle of trying to prove your devotion, of feeling like no matter what you do, you're always falling short. And once you fall into that cycle, it's almost impossible to get out. Because a woman like this doesn't want balance. She doesn't want a relationship built on trust, she wants control. A strong man? He doesn't allow this. He doesn't let a woman dictate his time, his schedule, or his emotional energy. He doesn't apologize for being focused on his own goals, his own responsibilities, his own priorities. He understands that a healthy relationship isn't about constant contact, it's about mutual respect. And here's something most men don't realize: a woman who truly values you will never make you feel guilty for being busy with your life. She will support your ambitions, not resent them. She will appreciate the moments you give her without demanding every second of your time. She won't need constant reassurance because she will be secure enough in herself and in the relationship to know that your feelings don't depend on how often you text or call. But a woman who demands constant communication? That's not love. That's fear. That's insecurity. That's a red flag. And if you ignore it, if you let it slide, it will only get worse. Because relationships like this don't get better over time, they become prison sentences. The more you give, the more she takes. The more you try to reassure her, the more she demands. And eventually, you're left walking on eggshells, afraid that even a few hours of silence will send her spiraling. So what's the solution? Boundaries. A Stoic man knows that his time is his own. He doesn't feel obligated to text back immediately. He doesn't apologize for prioritizing his work, his friends, his mental clarity. And he sure as hell doesn't sacrifice his independence just to keep an insecure woman happy. Because real attraction? It doesn't come from constant availability. It doesn't come from being at her beck and call. It comes from being your own man, a man who isn't afraid to say, "No, I'm busy right now. I'll talk to you later." And if she can't handle that, if she throws a tantrum every time you're not immediately available, then she's showing you exactly what kind of woman she is. And that's your cue to walk away. Chapter 6. She never says thank you. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most revealing qualities a person can have. It doesn't take effort to say two simple words, "Thank you." But when a woman never expresses appreciation, it tells you everything you need to know about her character. A woman who refuses to acknowledge kindness, generosity, or effort is not just careless, she is entitled. An entitlement in a relationship is a slow-growing disease that will eventually rot it from the inside out. At first, it's easy to ignore. Maybe you tell yourself she just forgot. You pay for dinner, and she doesn't acknowledge it. You hold the door open for her, and she walks through without a second glance. You do something thoughtful, remember her favorite drink, help her with a small task, go out of your way to make her life easier, and she acts as if it's expected, not appreciated. But here's the problem, it doesn't stop there. A lack of gratitude is not an isolated issue, it's a mindset. A woman who never says thank you is not just rude, she is operating with the belief that she is owed everything you do for her. And that belief will only get stronger as time goes on. At the start of the relationship, maybe it's just small things, failing to thank you for paying the bill, ignoring your thoughtful gestures, acting like your kindness is just standard procedure. But as she gets more comfortable, entitlement grows. What started as carelessness turns into full-blown expectation. She doesn't just fail to say thank you, she starts demanding things. She expects you to accommodate her needs without hesitation. She treats your efforts as a bare minimum requirement rather than a choice you are making. And here's where most men make a mistake. They think if they just do more, she'll eventually appreciate them. They think if they keep giving, she'll finally wake up and realize how lucky she is. But that's not how entitlement works. The more you give to someone who doesn't appreciate it, the less they respect you. Instead of being seen as a man of value, you become a resource, someone to be used rather than loved. A relationship without gratitude is not a relationship, it is servitude. When a woman sees you as a provider, an ATM, or an emotional support system without reciprocation, she is not your partner, she is your taker. And a Stoic man does not tolerate one-sided relationships. He does not continue to give to someone who only takes. Think about it this way, if a woman can't even say two simple words, "Thank you," how do you think she will handle real difficulties in a relationship? If she can't acknowledge small kindnesses, do you really believe she will appreciate the deeper sacrifices that come with long-term commitment? The answer is no. Because gratitude isn't about words, it's about mindset. A grateful person doesn't need to be reminded to appreciate what they have. They recognize value naturally. And here's something most men don't realize. A woman who never expresses gratitude is a woman who will never be satisfied. Today, she takes your efforts for granted. Tomorrow, she expects more. No matter what you do, it will never be enough. Because the issue isn't what you're doing, it's her mentality. And a woman who believes she deserves everything without appreciation is a woman who will drain you emotionally, financially, and mentally. A high-value man doesn't waste his time trying to earn appreciation from someone who refuses to give it. He doesn't beg for recognition. He doesn't wait for a woman to suddenly realize his worth after months or years of neglect. He recognizes early when a woman has an entitled mindset, and he walks away before he invests too much. Some men convince themselves that she just isn't expressive, that maybe she does appreciate them deep down. But here's the truth: if a woman truly appreciates you, you won't have to guess. You won't have to wonder if she values you. It will be clear in how she treats you, how she speaks to you, and how she reciprocates your effort. And don't fall for the trap of thinking, well, she thanks me sometimes. Occasional gratitude isn't enough. It's not about whether she says thank you once in a while, it's about whether she consistently values what you bring to the table. If a woman can only show appreciation when she's in a good mood or when it benefits her, that's not gratitude, that's manipulation. A Stoic man does not beg for appreciation. He does not lower his standards just to be tolerated. He demands respect, not through words, not through arguments, but through action. If a woman refuses to show gratitude, he does not try harder to earn it. He does not keep giving in the hopes that she'll eventually realize his worth. He removes himself from the situation entirely. Because here's the reality: there are countless women out there who understand the value of a good man. Women who express appreciation naturally, without being prompted. Women who see effort and acknowledge it, and not just with words, but with their own effort in return. So why waste time on a woman who refuses to say thank you? Why invest in someone who only takes, never gives? The answer is simple: you shouldn't. If she never says thank you, don't make excuses for her. Don't try to change her. Don't accept less than what you deserve. Walk away. Chapter 7. She has cheated before. This is the biggest red flag of them all. If a woman has cheated before, it is not a coincidence, not a mistake, and certainly not something to ignore. Cheating is a pattern of behavior, not a one-time accident. A woman who has betrayed someone's trust once has already proven that she does not value loyalty. And if she did it to her last boyfriend, she is fully capable of doing it to you. Some men think they're different. They convince themselves that they are special, that they are the exception. They believe that because she claims to be happy with them, she won't do it again. But history doesn't lie, and history always repeats itself. A woman who has shown the capacity for betrayal doesn't suddenly become a loyal, trustworthy partner just because she's with you now. If anything, she's just waiting for the right opportunity. Let's be brutally honest: cheating is not an accident. It is a choice. A woman who cheats knows exactly what she is doing. She makes the decision to lie, to deceive, to betray, and to disrespect the person she's supposed to be loyal to. And if she has done it before, it means she has rationalized it in her mind. Maybe she blamed the guy she cheated on, saying he was emotionally unavailable or that she wasn't happy. Maybe she told herself it just happened. But cheating doesn't just happen. It takes calculated dishonesty, sneaking around, and deliberate disrespect. A Stoic man doesn't ignore patterns of behavior. He doesn't lie to himself, thinking he can be the one to change a woman. He understands that a person's character is revealed in their actions, not their words. And if her actions have proven that she is willing to cheat, it means she has no true sense of commitment, respect, or integrity. No amount of promises, apologies, or justifications can erase that reality. And don't fall for the classic excuse, "I was young. I made a mistake." No. A mistake is something you do once, feel genuine remorse for, and make sure never happens again. But a woman who has cheated has already crossed that line. She has already proven that when given the chance, she is willing to put her own selfish desires above loyalty and trust. Now, let's talk about what happens when you ignore this red flag. When a man decides to look past a woman's history of cheating, he is setting himself up for paranoia and insecurity. Every time she goes out, every time she texts someone, every time she seems distant, that thought will creep in. Is she doing it again? And the truth is, she probably is. Because the moment your relationship hits a rough patch, when she gets bored, when she feels neglected, when she wants attention, she has already trained herself to believe that cheating is an acceptable solution. A strong man doesn't tolerate this. A high-value man doesn't gamble on loyalty. He doesn't waste his time on someone who has already proven to be disloyal. The moment he finds out that a woman has cheated before, he doesn't make excuses. He doesn't justify it. He doesn't try to fix her. He does one simple thing: he leaves. Because here's the truth, there are millions of women in this world who have never cheated. Women who know what loyalty means. Women who respect the value of trust in a relationship. Why would you settle for someone who has already proven she can't be trusted? Why would you knowingly walk into a situation where you have to constantly wonder whether or not your partner is being faithful? That is not a relationship built on respect. That is self-inflicted misery. A Stoic man values his peace of mind. He does not tolerate betrayal. He does not allow his emotions to blind him from reality. And the reality is simple: if she has cheated before, she will do it again. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But at some point, when she feels like she can get away with it, she will. Don't be the fool who thinks he can change her. Don't ignore the warning signs just because she's attractive, fun, or seems different now. Pay attention to who she has been, not just who she claims to be. The past always leaves clues. If she has cheated before, don't try to fix her. Don't waste your time wondering if she's changed. Make a decision: leave. Red flags aren't just warning signs, they're previews of your future. A woman who is controlling, insecure, entitled, or disloyal won't suddenly become a great partner. The Stoics knew that true peace comes from making wise choices, and the biggest choice you ever make is who you allow into your life. If you see these behaviors, don't ignore them. Don't waste your time trying to fix her. Walk away. The strongest man isn't the one who endures toxic behavior, it's the one who refuses to tolerate it. If you've ever dealt with a woman like this, drop a comment and share your story. Like, subscribe, and share this video, because every man needs to hear this. Stay strong.